This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Welcome back to Inside the Wolf's Den with your hosts, Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So we are on another episode of just you and I, not a guest this week. And this week we're going to be talking about what does success look like to you?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And this was spawned. Is that the right word? Spawned. But we meet with a small group of property management franchise owners, and we that was the question, and it was because of the CEO of Neighborly had proposed that and what success looked like, and it's different, and he kind of proposed and made everybody think about it, and it got us all thinking, like, what does success look like for us? And so we went, the first thing we did when we got together as a group this past week was we all shared what we felt like success looked like. And I think it's interesting to hear the different perspectives, but also I think the different stages in life, and we're going to get into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you're right on that. And since that conversation, I've been really thinking about it, and I've actually pitched that, same question to a lot of our other mastermind groups, because I think you're right. I think at each stage of your life, it's different, right? When we first got into this, or when I first got into this, it was about, getting out of the current situation that I was in. Like, I didn't want to be like my father and my brother. And so, that was success to me is beating that addiction, right? And then as you gone on in life, it was about, okay, like now it's about making money. Like that's my dream, my goal, and then now later in life, it's like, okay, it's not all about making money. It's about spending time with your family, your friends, like your loved ones, and making an impact in the world, right?
No, I think, you're 100% right. For me, it was, in early, when we first started our business, it was all about money. But it was also, there was money and then power and then, like self-worth. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was, you
wanted to prove to other people, what you could do.
Correct. And that was the drive, but the vision and everything of what I envisioned when I was 19, 20 years old, and it was owning multiple houses. It was flipping, 10 homes a month. It was like that. And then you get to those goals, and it's like, it totally changes. And it's not, and I heard this, Matthew McConaughey had said this week, and I thought it was, he's coming out with a one day,
mastermind?
Yeah, like a help.
Oh, I see the webinar or something.
Yeah, he's doing a webinar, but coming up here on the 24th. But it was all about, it's kind of about around these same things, but he said it's never like you have this vision of what you think when you hit that accomplishment, or you hit that plateau, or you hit that goal, or whatever. It's never as good as you ever envisioned.
Ever. And it's so true, though. If you think about every time, like, we, set a goal and we've accomplished that goal, it's like, okay, now what? Right?
You always raise the bar. You keep raising the bar.
Yeah. And I feel like the last, and that question alone, like, what does success look like to you, really made me think, like, okay, like, yeah, like, it's different now than it was 20 years ago, for sure, but I think everybody should be asking themselves that, right?
And it's going to change. So like for us, it changed every time we hit those milestones, or we thought success was, for us at that time, it was like you just kept raising the bar and kept raising the bar. And it was
to the point where, like, man, I wish, like, 10 years ago we can go to a movie when we wanted to go to a movie, right?
Yeah. So there's sometimes you were like, well, this success, being simple and just less money but a simpler life was actually probably more successful than more money and more problems. But so I mean, the meaning of success is gonna greatly depend on the individual's values, their goals. And aspirations. So it's always going to change.
So it's going to be different for everyone. So you really have to sit down and really write out your goals, what you're looking to accomplish in life, before you're able to achieve that.
And work very hard at it and accomplish it. And it's going to change. And so I think you fast forward to us today. So just to give you guys reference, what I said this past week was what success looked like for me now. So I told you what it looked like in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Now it was all about the experience and the time and being present into today. Mm-hmm. And so it was all about, for me,
be success, where your feet are.
Yeah, success was about my relationships with my wife, with my kids, the experiences I had with them, the experiences I had in life, and just appreciating every day in the moment.
Yeah.
Because, and so to me, that was more important than accumulation of more wealth, accumulation of income. It was more about living in today, so this is a work in progress because I'm not.
But I think it's good though. I think that it shows like where we've come from, right? And I think that for a lot of people out there, like you're just starting out. Yeah, a good friend said it the best. Like it's like chapters, right? Like each stage of your life is a different chapter, right? When we're in our 20s, like it was totally different.
Seasons,
it's different seasons.
Yeah.
It's going to be totally different at each season.
Yeah.
And you got to embrace that.
Yeah. Sean McCloskey was the one that first told us that, and he was on the podcast a couple episodes ago, and that's what when we were working with him, it was a different season in our life and a different chapter.
Right.
So what did you say success looked like this past week?
Success to me is when wanting to have the more freedom to spend with your family, your loved ones. And I talked about this often where we would take a month off to be with our kids, right? And totally off the grid, like no emails, no text messages, totally off the grid. And that's the one moment they absolutely remember. And so, when I look back at that, what success looks like to me is that. Because your kids are going to remember, how much money you made, what you did in business. Like, they don't care, right? But they're going to remember how much time you spent with them, what you did with them, and it doesn't cost a lot of money.
I agree. And so do you feel like they move out of the house and do all that, what do you think is going to, is it going to change? What do you think your success after they're gone and they're not there with you day to day? Is it still going to be about the memories you create with them traveling or the grandchildren? I don't know.
Who knows? Like, I think that's another chapter, right? Like right now we're in the chapter of, okay, we only have 6 more years with our son, right? 9 more years with our daughter. And so what does that look like right now is like spending as much time with them, right? And then after that, who knows? They might not even want to spend time with us, which is what I hear about, like when they get older, they don't want to spend any time with you. So it might just be you and I. You have to be stuck with me. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah. So what's success going to look? A peaceful
so
day.
So what does success look like to you?
Send you off to get a massage or something.
Exactly.
That'd be success. No.
You're like, I'm just sending her off because I need some time away.
No, but and some of the other members had mentioned that success looked like for them. So a lot of said freedom to just do whatever they want throughout a day, freedom to, if they want to go here, they want to do that. And so there's all these things there's some financial aspect, I think, to all of it.
Of course. I think there's got to
be, you got to define what you truly want to do and then what it's going to cost to do that. And then you got to create, so success has to have some kind of financial stability behind it, I guess. But then,
totally agree.
And you should define that.
But it shouldn't all be about that.
Correct. And then a lot of the other ones said, in different formats, it was all about impact, contribution.
And happiness.
Yeah.
Like your overall happiness, right? Like what makes you happy in life?
but they wanted to live an impact in this world. And so how could they, so then it became success looked like about how they contribute to the rest of the world and how they contribute to the people around them,
Right.
how they contribute and make an impact in other people.
That's important. That's definitely important.
So I was thinking about that because when they were saying, I guess mine was a little bit selfish because I was thinking about just my experiences with my loved ones, my people, and theirs was more, and they wanted impact in how they impacted their loved ones and everything as well, but they also wanted to make an impact in this world and how they
Right.
contributed to this world. And I think as it's like you said, it's different chapters, different seasons. I think right now, I didn't have that same lens on because I was maybe a little jaded or whatever, but that's
a good point right there too, because I think that depending on what you're going through in that moment, it may be different, right?
Correct.
And so, I think that we do make an impact. We employ a lot of people, right? We feed a lot of mouths. And so that's the impact that we make in our organization, right?
Correct.
But it's not that you might not be vocal about it, but that's true. It's just the season that you're in and what you're going through right now. That's what makes you think, okay, like I need to spend more time with my family.
correct. And to me, it's I think some of that was because for years it was like I didn't have a like a hobby or something like that. And I was like, how can I don't have a charity that I'm super like behind. And so I was like, how can I make an impact or contribute? And so it was, a lot of it was for me for many years was like helping the ones that I impact or speak with on a regular basis, which are staff and vendors and clients and stuff like that. So that was me feeling like I can contribute there. You help a lot of people, and sometimes it backfires on you. And
but
so
you have to look at it differently, though, as opposed. You can't, that's.
Yeah, a few bad apples ain't gonna spoil it, but I gotta keep going. And so that's where I'm at, where I was like, man, I don't know. Then I came back into like, you know what? Right now I should just be focused on my family and my wife and kids, and just be super present with them and and so that's where it came back to. But anyway, I know I'll have probably when the kids are moved on, I think you and I will probably have an impact on and success to us is like how many other people can we help? How many other people can we contribute in their lives?
Yeah, which is a different season, different chapter in our life, right?
So, and there's still, we have goals and, every year you and I sit down and we define our own personal goals. But then as a business with our leadership team, we also define our business goals as well.
Right.
And so we have goals and there are financial goals in those goals as well.
Yes.
So yes, it doesn't always, because I think when you talk about success and all that, and it's going to be different.
And it doesn't have to be the same thing that you put out to be 20 years ago. And that's the thing. Yeah, it's going to change over time. Like you think about the markets, right? The market's always changing. It's never the same. So it's just like your seasons, your chapters. It's never going to be the same depending on what's going on in today's world. Like it's going to change. That's why it's important for you to sit down and, write out your goals, your plans, because it might not be the same depending on what's going on.
And we have some really good friends that money isn't everything to them, and they live a very satisfied, happy life, and they enjoy because they define their life based upon, they have parameters that what success looks like to them.
Right.
And maybe it's a certain amount of time off a year. It's a certain amount of time traveling per year. And as long as they can generate enough income to support that and their lifestyle and everything, then they're good with that. They don't need.
We have several friends like that.
Yeah, they don't need to have the biggest business. They don't need to do the most amount of deals. They don't need a big bank account or all these properties they own. And they probably would rather not have all that, to be honest with you.
There's a lot to say about that.
Sometimes they're like, wow, I wish I had that. And God, we could get there. It's just like you create all this and you're like, well, maybe I should sell some of it. But
I think like when you're building a business too, I think all entrepreneurs go through this, right? Where You want more, business. You want the bigger the better. You want to be the best, right? And then you hit that and you're like, now what?
It's just not everything you thought else it would be.
Yeah.
And then there's more to life than just that. And so it goes back to contribution and contributing to an impact. And I think it's the hierarchies of life, just the different stages. And so I think in our 20s, we were just in survival. So it was all about money and and accumulation. In business, I think we can talk a little bit about that too. Like when we have our leadership meetings and our L10s and all that, so we sit down at the beginning of the year, we set we have our BHAG, which is our big hairy, audacious goal that we're trying to hit, which would be success in a, and it's got to be it's an uncomfortable goal, right?
Right. It should be uncomfortable.
It's so big. Yeah. Then you define your 5-year and your 3-year plan. And your 3 years is the most important because your 3 years, it's close enough to where you can really start gauging where you're headed. And then we break it down to your yearly to get to that 3-year. And then we break it, and those yearly goals are broken down into quarterly, and we break down quarterly how to get to there in that yearly. So I think success, and then you break down rocks. This is all based upon EOS, which is the book Traction. If you ever want to read it, we've talked about it many times on this book.
Great book.
But what we've done, success to us every quarter is us, would be 80% or more of our rocks. Because if we're hitting 80% or more of our rocks every week, we're moving forward. And it's amazing to see our businesses move with us, getting to 60, 70, 80% of those rocks. And then all of a sudden what we hit at the end of the year, we're like, wow, we accomplished 80% of our goals. Yeah. And we might have missed a few, but and there's reasons why that happens and all that. But that's really success in a business aspect. Yeah. And so it's neat to see that.
It is cool. Like we just had our quarterly meeting and we weren't anticipating to grow really as much, right? We're fixing some processes and procedures, and because we were so diligent on our rocks, we still grew, right?
Yeah, and we made a lot more money, so it was more profitable too. But but we were hitting our rocks still, but they're different types of rocks, and that's it. So that gets that's a good point, because for many years, our success in our businesses and all that we defined as leadership, a lot of it had to do with growth,
right,
and becoming a bigger company and all that. And then we set our goals this year was more about not
defining
growing.
The processes.
It was defining process, training, and profitability.
Right.
And it's amazing when you focus on all that. It's like, well,
the growth comes.
Yeah,
right?
It grows, but also growth profitably.
Right.
So an exercise.
So you don't have to be bigger to be more profitable.
Correct. And make more money. It's less headache. But and I recommend you do this on a personal level too. So if you're defining what your success looks like on a personal level, you or you and your spouse should have a big, hairy, audacious goal that you guys are working towards. And we have some as far as retirement goals and income levels and assets that you and I to support the life we want to live of freedom and time with our kids.
Right.
And
goals with your kids too, right? And
you sit down with your kids if they're old enough to comprehend that and explain that to them. And then you break it down into 3 years and 5-year, 3-year, and then yearly goals that you set with your kids, and you work on those to accomplish it.
Right.
And we've had travel plans. We've had
and we've had some
success. Yeah.
Really good times with our kids, and if we talk about it, and those are the times that they remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so and that goes back to what success looks like. So I hope we understood that, and it's different for everybody, and it's different stages of everybody's lives, and it's not one. You said this earlier. We're not one size fits all. Right?
Yeah. No, it's not one size fits all. And I encourage everybody, if you're listening to this, because many people that I've talked to, they had to think about it. I don't know. I don't know what success looks like to me. What does it look like to me? Right. And that's pretty common.
Then you're going through life without any direction to an extent.
Yeah. But so I encourage you to sit down and, really think about what does success look like to you? right now.
Yeah.
It might change in the next 6 months or so, next year or so, depending on the season, right? But what does it look like to you right now?
Awesome. We'll end on that note then. So
Yes.
I hope we encourage you to answer that question this week and come up and define what success looks like to you. And we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
If you
Please send us a
info@insidethewolfsden.com. We would love to hear about your guys' success and the journey you guys are on. And it's amazing to hear everybody's different perspective.
Yep.
And you'd be surprised, like sometimes it's the simplest things, and then other times people are after money and wealth and possessions, but other times success is just simple things in life that
and
you can appreciate.
the last thing I will say is that if you have not read the book 18 Summers, and you have kids, I highly recommend that you read it. It's our good friends, Jim and Jamie Shields, they wrote this book. But really, it kind of makes you think about, okay, like, wow, I really only have 18 summers left with my kids, right? How am I going to make it worth it? How am I going to make an impact?
Awesome.
So,
well,
anyway.
Have a great week, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya, guys.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.